The night rain had just begun to fall, soft enough to sound like whispers on the roof of the small roadside diner. Inside, the lights flickered a warm amber, reflecting off the chrome counters and empty coffee cups. A girl no older than 17 sat, alone in the far booth, clutching something tightly to her chest. Her hoodie was damp at the shoulders, her breath shaky, her eyes fixed on the door as if waiting for someone who might never come. Then the door swung open. A man stepped inside, tall, confident, the kind of presence that made people straighten without realizing it. His watch alone cost more than everything in that diner combined. He glanced toward her, and she stood, trembling, determined. "Sir," she said, voice barely holding, "could you pretend to be my father for 5 minutes?" And for a moment, even the rain seemed to pause. "Before this story pulls you deeper, tell me, where are you watching from right now?" It always amazes me how one story can connect strangers across oceans. Drop your city. Let's see how far. A single moment of courage can travel. Asterisk Ethan Hawley had heard many strange requests in his life. Business propositions, desperate pleas, wild ideas from dreamers trying to get his investment. But this, a teenage girl asking him to pretend to be her father? That was new, even for him. He raised a brow, half amused, half confused. "Why would you need that?" he asked, brushing raindrops off his coat. The girl swallowed hard. "Please, just for a moment. It's important." Her hand shook as she clutched something, not a weapon, not money, just a worn photograph folded at the edges. She kept glancing over her shoulder toward the window. Fear sat behind her eyes like a shadow. She couldn't shake that. Ethan glanced around the diner, empty, quiet, no threat he could see. Still, there was something in her voice, a crack of desperation he couldn't ignore. "What's your name?" he asked. "Lily," he sighed, sliding into the booth. "All right, Lily, I'll play along. But you need to tell me what's happening." She sat across from him, her shoulders slowly losing some tension. "There's a man outside," she whispered. "He's been following me since the bus station. I don't know him." Ethan's expression shifted, amusement gone, concern stepping in. "And you thought he'd back off if he saw you with your father?" She nodded. "He's coming in. Please act normal." The bell above the diner door jingled again. A middle-aged man entered, messy hair, chewing gum, eyes scanning too sharply. Ethan recognized that look. It was the kind men wore when they thought no one was paying attention. The look of someone hunting something. The man's gaze landed on Lily. Ethan didn't hesitate. He reached across the table and placed a steady hand over Lily's. "There you are," he said warmly, loud enough for the stranger to hear. "I was getting worried. You said your bus would arrive an hour ago." Lily played along instantly, almost too naturally. "Sorry, Dad, it was delayed. Everything all right?" Ethan asked, tone soft but eyes locked on the stranger. The man stiffened, then pretended to look at the menu before muttering something and backing out of the diner. The bell jingled again. Silence returned. Lily's breath escaped her in a shudder. She wiped her eyes with her sleeve. "Thank you," she whispered. Ethan nodded, still watching the door. "Do you know him at all?" "No, but he kept staring at me like he knew things about me." She looked down at her hands. "I just didn't want to be alone." "You're not," Ethan said gently. He didn't know why he said it. Maybe because something inside him, something buried, recognized her loneliness a little too well. A waitress approached with 2 menus, but paused when she saw Lily's trembling. "Everything okay here?" Ethan nodded. "We're fine. Maybe just 2 hot chocolates?" The waitress smiled warmly at Lily. "Coming right up, sweetheart." When she left, Ethan leaned forward. "Do you have somewhere safe to go?" Lily hesitated. "Not really." He frowned. "Parents?" She looked down. Then she placed the folded photo on the table and pushed it toward him. He unfolded it gently, a picture of Lily at around 10 years old, smiling wide, and standing beside a man who looked very much like Ethan, same jawline, same eyes, same faint smile. Ethan froze. "What is this?" he whispered. "That's why I came looking for you? Because I think you're the man in that photo." Ethan felt the diner grow smaller, the lights dimmer, the air thicker. That couldn't be possible. He had no children. He had never... But the eyes staring back from that photograph looked too much like his to ignore. He looked at Lily, really looked at her. The shape of her face, the slope of her nose, the nervous habit of rubbing her thumb against her palm, a habit he had carried since childhood. His heartbeat stuttered. Lily's eyes glistened. "If you were in my place, what would you have done? Really think about it. Comment below. And if you can't find the words, just tap like to show that instincts like mine still matter." Ethan sat back, breath uneven. "Lily, where did you get this photo?" She whispered, "From my mom, the night before she died." Ethan's pulse thudded in his ears. The rain outside grew heavier, blurring the windows like a curtain dropping over their world. "Tell me everything," he said. Lily opened her mouth to speak, but the diner door jingled again, and Ethan's stomach dropped as a familiar voice said his name. Asterisk, Ethan? He knew the voice before he turned. Years of high-stakes meetings and long car rides had carved it into his memory. Grace stood at the entrance, closing her umbrella, raindrops clinging to her blazer. She scanned the diner, eyes landing on Ethan first, then on Lily, then on their joined hands and the photograph on the table. Her brows knit together. "I've been calling you," she said quietly as she walked over. "Your driver was worried you just disappeared." Ethan cleared his throat, trying to steady his voice. "I needed a moment alone." Grace's gaze flicked from his face to Lily's trembling shoulders. "Doesn't look like you're alone." Lily dropped her hand from his instantly, pulling her sleeve over her fingers as if she'd done something wrong. Ethan noticed the way she shrank just a bit, shoulders folding inward. "This is Lily," he said. "She needed some help." Grace gave Lily a small, reassuring nod. "You okay, sweetheart?" Lily hesitated. I think so." "Thanks to him." Grace slid into the edge of the booth, choosing not to crowd them. "What happened?" Ethan exhaled slowly, fingers still on the photo. "That man outside. He was following her." Grace's jaw tightened. "Did you call the police?" "No," Ethan said. "He left when he thought she was with her father." Grace blinked. "Her father?" He turned the photograph toward her. As she leaned in, her eyes widened. "You didn't need to know Ethan well to see it. The resemblance was undeniable." "Ethan," she whispered. "Is that?" "I don't know," he snapped, then caught himself. "I don't know yet." Lily flinched at the sharpness in his tone. Ethan noticed and softened. "Lily, tell us about your mother. Start there." The waitress returned with 2 mugs of hot chocolate, steam curling into the air. She set them down gently, sensing the heaviness at the table, then walked away without a word. Lily wrapped her hands around the mug, as if the heat could hold her together. Her name was Ava. She began. "Ava Monroe. We moved a lot when I was little. Tiny apartments, shared rooms, sometimes staying with my mom's friends. She worked nights cleaning offices, waiting tables, whatever she could find." As she spoke, Ethan stared at the condensation forming on his glass. Ava. The name hit him like a forgotten song. 12 years ago, at a coastal conference, he'd met a woman who laughed like she didn't care who was listening. Her name had been Ava. "Did she ever mention me?" he asked, voice barely above a whisper. Lily nodded slowly. "Only once. I was maybe 10. I asked why I didn't have a dad like the other kids. She said I did. She said he was a good man, just lost in the wrong world. A world of glass buildings and important people. Lily's eyes lifted to his. She called you the man in the suit? Grace's gaze slid to Ethan's expensive watch, his tailored coat, the quiet authority he carried everywhere. The description fit him almost too well, Lily continued. She told me he didn't know about me. That if he did, maybe things would have been different. But she never said your name until... Her voice faltered. Until the hospital. Rain drummed harder against the windows, a steady, relentless rhythm. Ethan's throat tightened. Hospital? Lily looked down at the rising steam from her cup. She got sick, really sick. At first it was little things, tired all the time. Dizzy, forgetting stuff. Then one night she collapsed in our kitchen. I was the one who called the ambulance. Grace's hand moved unconsciously toward Lily's, stopping just short, getting her space. They said it was late, Lily whispered. Too late, cancer. By the time they found it, it had spread everywhere. We spent months in that hospital. I did homework on plastic chairs. I slept in waiting rooms. She blinked quickly as tears threatened. She tried to smile through it, tried to joke, but I could see she was scared. Ethan stared at the table, jaw clenched so tightly it hurt. He could picture it, white walls, beeping machines, a girl too young sitting beside a fading mother. On her last night, Lily said, voice shaking, she made me promise I'd find you. She reached under her pillow and gave me this photo. She tapped it with trembling fingers. And a piece of paper with your name, Ethan Hawley. Grace inhaled sharply. Have you ever had someone step into your life when you were breaking? Someone who helped you when no one else did? If yes, write yes in the comments and tell me their name. Maybe, just maybe, they'll feel that gratitude reach them. Asterisk, asterisk, Ethan's eyes burned, but he forced his voice to stay level. Why didn't she tell me? He muttered, more to himself than to Lily. Why wait until then? Lily shrugged helplessly. She said she didn't want to ruin your life, that you were destined for big things. She used to watch interviews of you on her phone, you talking about success and risk and building empires. A sad smile flickered on her lips. She'd say, that's your father. Look how far he's gone. He remembered those interviews, rehearsed answers, perfect lighting, empty applause. He hadn't known anyone out there was watching him like that, needing him like that. I wrote to your company, Lily added quietly. 3 times. Sent copies of the photo, but I never got a reply. Grace's head snapped toward Ethan. We get thousands of letters, she said softly. Most never reach him. They go through filters. Lily nodded as if she'd expected that. So I saved up, took a bus, tracked you down from an article about where you'd be giving a speech this week. I thought maybe if I saw you in person, I'd know. Ethan tried to swallow past the lump in his throat. Know what? If you were really the man my mom believed you were, she whispered, not just the rich one on the screen. Silence sat with them for a long moment. Grace broke it gently. Ethan, the resemblance. The timing. Her mother's name. This isn't random. He pressed his fingers to his temples. The past crashed against him. That rainy night at the coastal resort. Ava's laugh, their rushed goodbye when his driver said the car was waiting. His promise to stay in touch that dissolved under the weight of meetings and deadlines. What did she say about me at the end? He asked hoarsely. Lily wiped her cheeks with the back of her hand. She said, he's not perfect. He's afraid of feeling too much. But if he ever finds out he has a daughter, he won't walk away a second time. The words split something open in him. Lily reached into her backpack with shaking hands. She left you something else. She pulled out a small, worn envelope, edges softened by years of being handled. On the front, in faded ink, was his name. Ethan stared at it, his whole world narrowing to that thin piece of paper. "Will you read it?" Lily asked. His fingers hovered over the envelope, trembling, then finally closed around it as he began to tear it open. Asterisk. Ethan unfolded the letter slowly, as though any sudden movement might shatter the fragile paper or the fragile piece of him holding on. The ink was faded, the handwriting uneven, as if Ava had written it during one of her weaker days. Lily watched with hands clasped tightly in her lap. Grace leaned back, giving him space. Though her eyes stayed soft and alert, the first line made his breath hitch. "Ethan, if you're reading this, it means I didn't get to tell you the truth myself." His fingers trembled. Ava's voice seemed to rise from the page, soft, tired, but still warm enough to wrap around him like the memory of a summer he once lived. "I didn't tell you then because I was scared. You were going so far, reaching so high, and I didn't know how to fit into your future without holding you back. Then the test came, and the fear came with it." Grace looked away, swallowing hard. "I thought I'd find the right moment. I thought there would be a better time. But life doesn't wait for perfect timing. And I waited too long." Ethan closed his eyes briefly, fighting the sting. "Her name is Lily. She is brave, stubborn, too smart for her own good, and she has your eyes. She also has your way of pretending she's fine when she's falling apart." Lily looked down at her hands. "I didn't want you burdened by a child you didn't choose. I wanted you to come into her life cleanly, not through obligation or guilt. But things didn't work out the way I hoped." A tremor ran down Ethan's jaw. "If she finds you, Ethan, please don't turn away. She's all the good I've ever done." The last line was written shakier than the rest, as if her hand had struggled to stay steady. "Don't let her grow up believing she's alone." The page ended. Ethan stared at it, at the last loop of Ava's signature, before folding the letter with trembling care and setting it gently on the table. Lily wiped a tear she'd been trying to hide. "Mom always said you weren't the kind of man who abandoned people," she whispered. She believed that until her last breath. Ethan felt something inside him fracture, guilt, grief, disbelief, and a dawning responsibility he wasn't ready for, all colliding at once. Grace broke the silence carefully. "Ethan, say something." But Ethan had no words, none that wouldn't break halfway out of his throat. Instead, he exhaled shakily, rubbing his palm over his face. "I didn't know. God, Lily, I didn't know." "I figured," she murmured. "If you had, you would have come." Mom was sure of it. He looked at her, really looked. Not as the terrified girl from an hour ago, not as a stranger with a photograph, but as a living echo of a past he had long buried. She had Ava's quiet strength, but she had his eyes, the same guarded softness he saw every morning in the mirror. Ethan leaned forward. "Lily, how long have you been alone?" She hesitated. "Since the funeral." Grace's breath caught. "No relatives? No one?" "My mom was all I had. And where have you been staying?" Ethan pressed gently. Lily shrugged. "Shelters. Cheap motels when I had enough. Friends' couches sometimes. I've been managing." Managing. It was a word no child should have to say like that. Before Ethan could speak, the waitress returned with a plate of cookies on the house. She set them down with a warm smile at Lily, who offered a small, automatic thank you before lowering her gaze again. Grace watched Lily pick at a cookie crumb, her fingers trembling slightly. "Have you eaten today?" Lily gave a half nod. "A granola bar this morning." Ethan's eyes sharpened with protective anger. "That's not a meal." "It's enough," Lily murmured. "Not for a girl your age," he replied softly. Lily didn't argue. Children who have known hunger rarely do. A quiet beat passed. Then Ethan made a decision, not dramatic, not explosive, just a steady shift inside him. like a door opening slowly after years of rust. "You're not going back to those shelters," he said. "Not ever again," Lily blinked, startled. "What?" "You heard me." Grace reached across the table, touching Lily's arm gently. "He means it," Lily's throat bobbed. "Why?" "You don't even know me yet?" Ethan's voice cracked around the edges. "Because Ava asked me not to abandon you. And because you're my daughter, that's enough." Lily pressed a shaking hand to her mouth. Her shoulders curled as though she was trying to hold herself together. "You don't have to trust me yet," Ethan added. "But let me help. Give me that chance." Her lips parted, but no words came out. He softened. "Tonight, you stay somewhere safe. With us after that. We'll figure everything out slowly. At your pace." Her eyes shimmered. "Do you really mean it?" "Yes," Ethan whispered. "I won't fail you again." A silence fell, heavy, tender, transformative, and then, as if the universe couldn't bear to leave the moment untouched, a gentle vibration buzzed from Ethan's pocket. His phone screen lit up. Board meeting in 20 minutes. He stared at it, then pressed the power button and placed the phone face down on the table, something he had never done before in the middle of a crisis. Grace blinked at the gesture. "You're missing your meeting," she sighed. "I'm not missing anything," Ethan replied. "I'm exactly where I should be." A breathless sound left Lily, part laugh, part sob. "And if your heart feels anything watching this moment unfold, share one good thing you've done recently. Write it in the comments so someone scrolling in the dark tonight remembers the world still has gentle people in it." Before Lily could say more, the diner door chimed again. This time, the man who had been following her stepped inside, but now he wasn't alone. Someone else was behind him. Asterisk. The bell above the diner door chimed with a sharpness that sliced through the fragile warmth at their table. Ethan's muscles tensed instantly. Lily stiffened beside him, her breath catching as the man who'd followed her earlier stepped inside. But this time, he wasn't alone. A second man entered behind him, taller, broader, carrying an authority that didn't come from sleaziness or street swagger. His posture was firm, his gaze calculated, the kind of look men had when they came with a purpose and wouldn't leave without fulfilling it. The first man, the one with the gum and disheveled hair, spotted Lily almost immediately. He nudged the tall man and pointed. The tall one nodded once, then began walking toward their booth with long, deliberate strides. Lily instinctively shifted closer to Ethan, her fingers gripping the edge of his coat like a lifeline. Ethan moved his arm behind her in a protective gesture, subtle but unmistakable. Grace straightened, her eyes narrowing. "This doesn't look good." "No," Ethan said quietly, "it doesn't." The tall man stopped beside the booth. Up close, he looked even more imposing, angular jaw, deep-set eyes, a faint scar down his cheek. But there was something official about him. Not a thug, not a random threat. Something worse, someone who believed he had a right to be here. Lily Monroe? He asked. Lily felt the air vanish from her lungs. She shook her head instinctively, curling deeper into Ethan's side. Ethan's voice sharpened. "Who are you?" The tall man reached into his jacket, slowly, and pulled out a leather wallet. He flipped it open. A badge glinted under the diner lights. Asterisk Detective Rowan Clay, Missing Persons Division. The words rattled through the booth. Ethan exchanged a stunned glance with Grace. "Missing? What? She's not missing." Detective Clay didn't shift his gaze. "Lily Monroe vanished from a foster facility 2 weeks ago. The state has been looking for her since." Lily's face drained of color. She grabbed Ethan's sleeve. "No, that's not true. That's not." The first man, The one who'd followed her earlier stepped closer with a smirk. Told you she'd lead us somewhere. Back off, Ethan snapped. Detective Clay raised a hand at his partner. Joel, wait outside. Joel clicked his tongue, but obeyed. Stepping out of the diner, Clay turned back to Lily. You ran away. I wasn't supposed to be there, Lily cried. They put me there after my mom died. It wasn't safe. I told them, but no one listened. I begged them not to separate me from my mom's things, but they took everything. They locked up my stuff. They didn't even let me keep her pillow. Her voice cracked, collapsing under the weight of unwanted memories. Ethan's heart clenched painfully. Grace reached across the table, touching Lily's trembling hand. You were scared. Anyone would have been. Detective Clay exhaled, rubbing the bridge of his nose. For a moment, he didn't look like a threat. He looked like a tired man stuck between rules and human pain. Lily, the state filed you as missing. We've been trying to make sure you weren't in danger. I was, Lily whispered. I still am. Clay's shoulders softened slightly. Look, I'm not here to hurt you. And I'm not here to drag you somewhere unsafe. But I do need to take you in for questioning, and then she's not going anywhere alone. Ethan cut in sharply. Not with you. Not with anyone. Clay raised a brow. And who are you? I'm her father, Ethan said. Grace closed her eyes for a moment, not because it was untrue, but because the words hit the air with a weight that changed everything. Clay looked Ethan up and down, skepticism flickering. We don't have that on record. You do now, Ethan replied. And if you try to take her without me, I will have every lawyer I own inside your department before sunrise. Clay stared at him for a long moment, then turned back to Lily. Is he telling the truth? He asked gently. Lily swallowed, tears gathering at the edges of her eyes. I think he is. I think he's my dad. The detective's expression softened. Barely, but enough. All right, he said. Then we'll do this the right way. Both of you come down to the station. She be safe there while we sort out the paperwork and... Station? Lily whispered, voice trembling. Do I have to go back? To foster care? Clay hesitated. That depends on the investigation. Lily shook her head, panic rising like a tide. No, I can't. Please, I'll do anything. Just don't make me go back there. Her voice cracked open, raw and terrified. Ethan leaned closer, lowering his voice with a fierce gentleness. You're not going anywhere you don't want to go. I promise. But I promise, he repeated. Lily clung to his sleeve with shaking fingers, and if that moment struck something in you, that fragile mix of fear and hope, leave it. Sometimes a simple symbol speaks the words we can't. Clay sighed, his expression shifting again from annoyance to concern to something more complicated. Look, this doesn't have to be hostile, he said. Come with me, together, we'll talk. And if paperwork lines up, well, things could go your way. Ethan narrowed his eyes. You're asking me to trust you? Clay nodded once. I'm asking you not to run. Lily looked between them, her breath uneven. Ethan, what do we do? Ethan placed a steady hand over hers. We stay together. That's what we do. Grace stood, grabbing her coat with decisive energy. Then we're all going. Clay blinked. You don't have to. I'm not leaving them, Grace said coldly. Let's move. The detective stepped aside, motioning them toward the door. Lily rose with trembling legs. Ethan helped her stand, keeping her close. But the moment they reached the entrance, Clay's radio crackled sharply, a frantic voice shouting through the static. Unit 9. Urgent. The man suspected in the Monroe case is on the move. Repeat. The biological father may not be alone. Approach with caution. Clay froze. Ethan did 2 dots, so did Lily, because the message wasn't referring to Ethan, Someone else was coming for her, and they were coming now. Asterisk. The police radio crackled again, the static snapping like electricity in the quiet diner. Detective Clay froze mid-step, his eyes narrowing as he pressed a hand to his earpiece. "Say that again," he said sharply. The reply came broken but urgent. "Suspect heading toward your location, possible connection to Ava Monroe's daughter. Proceed with caution, Clay. He's dangerous." Lily's legs went weak. She gripped Ethan's jacket with both hands as if the floor might break open beneath her. Grace moved instinctively to Lily's other side. "Who are they talking about?" Clay turned slowly, his expression shifting from professional composure to something much heavier. "We've been tracking a man," he said quietly. "Someone who showed up at the hospital the night Ava passed. Someone the staff reported for trying to access patient records without permission. We didn't have a name. Only a grainy security photo and a description." Lily swallowed hard. "What kind of description?" Clay hesitated. "Tall, mid-40s, dark jacket, graying hair, scar near his left eyebrow." Ethan stiffened. Grace stared. "That sounds like..." The bell over the diner door jingled. All of them turned at once. A man stood there, framed by the rain-soaked darkness. Exactly as described. Tall, broad-shouldered, graying hair slicked by the storm, a faint scar slicing across his left brow. His eyes swept the room with predatory precision, until they landed on Lily, and in that split second, something inside her shattered, her face drained of color. Her breath hitched. Ethan felt her grip tighten painfully around his arm. Clay stepped forward, hand drifting toward the gun at his waist. "Sir, I need you to step back." The man didn't blink. He didn't move. He simply stared at Lily with an expression Ethan couldn't decode. Shock, anger, desperation, obsession, all tangled into something unsettling. Then, in a voice roughened by years of cigarettes and bitterness, he spoke. "Lily." She stumbled backward until Ethan caught her. "Don't," she whispered, barely breathing. "Don't let him come near me." Ethan placed himself squarely between them. "Who are you?" The man's jaw tightened. "I'm her father." The words hit the diner like an explosion. Clay shoved his badge forward. "That's not confirmed. And until it is, you stay back." Grace stepped forward, voice sharp. "She doesn't want you near her." The man ignored everyone and took another step inside. Rain dripped from his sleeves onto the diner floor. "Lily," he said again, softer this time. "Please, I just want to talk." Lily shook her head violently. No, stay away from me." You're not. Her voice broke before she could finish. Ethan turned to Clay, fury creeping into every line of his face. "You didn't mention this. You didn't say the suspect was claiming to be..." "That's because we didn't know," Clay snapped. "And we don't know if he's telling the truth or if he's just unstable. He ran from questioning last week. He's a flight risk." The man took another step forward. Clay drew his gun halfway from his holster. "Stop moving. I'm not here for you." The man barked. "I'm here for my daughter." "She is not your daughter," Ethan growled. "Not until someone proves otherwise." Lily trembled so hard Ethan could feel it through his coat. She clutched his sleeve, her voice shaking. "He's lying. Ethan, he's lying. He used to come around our old building. My mom always said to stay away from him. She said he wanted something from us." "What?" Ethan asked quietly. Lily's eyes were glassy with fear. "Money or ownership. He said he'd take me if she didn't pay him back. Mom said he wasn't my father. She said he was dangerous." Clay's eyes darkened. "That aligns with our reports." The man's face flushed red with anger. "Ava lied. She lied because she didn't want me involved." Clay raised his voice sharply. "Sir, step outside now. I'm not leaving without her." Ethan stood taller, shoulders squared, voice low and lethal. Over my dead body. The man finally tore his gaze away from Lily and leveled it directly at Ethan. You think you can protect her? He sneered. You don't even know her, and you do? Ethan shot back. You terrorized her. The man's nostrils flared. She's mine. Clay's patience snapped. I said outside. He lunged forward, grabbing the man's arm, but the man shoved him back with surprising force. Clay stumbled, regaining balance quickly, but too late to prevent what happened next. The man moved toward Lily. Fast. Instinct took over. Ethan pushed Lily behind him and stepped directly into the man's path, colliding with him like a wall of steel. Chairs scraped. Dishes rattled. Rain hammered the windows. The man snarled. Move. No. He grabbed Ethan by the collar, but Ethan slammed his arm away. Eyes blazing with a fury he didn't know he still had. Clay finally regained his footing, drawing his gun fully now. Don't touch him. Hands where I can see them. The man lifted his hands slowly, glaring at Ethan with a hatred that pulsed like a physical force. Get her away from him, Lily whispered desperately, tears streaming down her cheeks. Please, please don't let him take me. Her voice cracked in a way that broke something inside everyone who heard it. And I need to ask you something, honestly. If you were standing in this diner, watching this unfold, could you forgive someone who caused this much fear? Right, forgive if you believe forgiveness is possible, or never if the pain would be too deep. Your honesty might help someone reading find their own truth. Clay stepped forward again, cuffs drawn. Sir, you're under arrest for interfering with an investigation, but the man made one last desperate move. He lunged. Not at Ethan, not at Clay. At Lily. Ethan reacted first, grabbing the man's arm. Twist. Lily screamed. Clay moved in with lightning speed, wrestling the man down, pinning him to the floor. Don't move. Clay roared. The man's face pressed against the cold tile. Rage and madness twisted together. You can't keep her from me. He shouted. She's mine. Nitrogen monoxide I'm not. Lily cried. Stop saying that. You're not my dad. Ethan pulled her into his chest, her sobs shaking them both. Clay finally snapped the cuffs shut. It's over, he said, breathless. It's over, Lily. But as the man was dragged to his feet, he turned his head and spat out one last sentence, one that made Lily collapse against Ethan in terror. You think you're safe? He hissed. You have no idea what's coming. Clay shoved him toward the door. Shut up, you're done. But the man only laughed, a low, chilling, unhinged sound that echoed through the diner as the rain outside turned into a storm. And for the first time tonight, Ethan wondered if the danger had only just begun. The diner felt strangely hollow once the man was dragged out into the rain. His echoing laughter evaporated, leaving behind only trembling breaths and the smell of cold metal from Clay's cuffs. A waitress peeked from behind the counter, wide-eyed, unsure if it was safe to move. Ethan kept his arm firmly around Lily. She was shaking so violently he could feel her heartbeat through his coat. Grace moved to the window, watching the patrol car lights flash red and blue across the wet pavement. They're loading him in now, she murmured. He's not coming back in here. But Lily wasn't convinced. Her voice was small, fractured. He said we don't know what's coming. What if he meant it? What if he wasn't alone? What if Effie then gently lifted her chin? Lily, look at me. Her tear-filled eyes met his. You're safe, he said, steady and calm. I won't let anything happen to you, ever. She blinked hard as though trying to believe him. But years of fear don't melt in a minute. Clay stepped forward, brushing rain off his shoulders. He looked more frustrated with himself than anything. We should get you both to the station. It'll be safer. We need to document this, gather the history you told us, and officially start the paternity inquiry. We'll also file a restraining order tonight. Lily flinched at the word station. Ethan noticed immediately. Is there another way? Clay sighed. Legally, not really. But I can put you in a private office. No cells, no noise. Just information gathering. Lily hesitated, twisting the sleeve of Ethan's coat with trembling fingers. I don't want to be taken anywhere without you. You won't be, Ethan promised. Clay added. I'll personally escort you. No one touches you. No one questions you without them there. Lily swallowed, then nodded weakly. Ethan squeezed her shoulder. Good girl. As they stepped outside, the wind whipped cold rain against their faces. The patrol car with the cuffed man inside was already pulling away, taillights smearing across the wet asphalt like red paint, but something about the storm felt wrong. Heavy. Pressing that Grace noticed Ethan staring into the darkness. What's going through your mind? A threat like that doesn't come from nothing, he murmured. If he wasn't her father, who was he to Ava? Why did he want Lily? Clay overheard and answered quietly. There were rumors from the hospital staff. A man demanding to know which relatives would inherit Ava's belongings. When they refused him access, he became aggressive. Security removed him twice. Lily's voice cracked. He tried to take my mom's things. Clay nodded. We think he was after something specific. Lily hugged her backpack tightly. Mom only kept a few things, her letters, her photo album, and her locker key. Ethan paused. Locker? At the hospital, Lily explained. She kept small things inside it. I've kept the key since the day she died, Grace frowned. What would that man want from a dying woman's locker? Lily's voice went small. I don't know. Mom never told me. Ethan's jaw tightened. We'll open it tomorrow. Clay nodded. It might help the investigation. As they reached Clay's unmarked car, the rain softened slightly. Ethan opened the back door for Lily. She hesitated a moment, then climbed in. Keeping her bag on her lap, Grace sat beside her, offering silent comfort. Ethan took the front seat. Clay started the engine, the wipers scraping across the windshield as they pulled out of the diner's lot. For a few minutes, they drove in tense silence. The city lights blurred through streaming rain, passing in soft glimmers. Lily rested her forehead against the cool glass, staring out at the night. Her reflection looked small, tired, older than her age. Grace whispered softly, It's okay to cry. I'm not crying, Lily whispered back, though her eyes shimmered. Ethan looked at her through the rearview mirror. You don't have to pretend with us, Lily's voice shook. I'm not pretending. I'm just tired of feeling scared all the time. Tired of running. Tired of wondering who's going to show up next. Ethan closed his eyes for a moment. Then he spoke quietly. You're not running anymore. The car turned onto a quieter road. Streetlights flickered in long stretches of orange glow. For a moment, Lily's breathing eased. Clay cleared his throat. Just so you're aware, once we arrive, they'll want a statement from all three of you. And if the DNA inquiry process begins quickly, you could have early results in a few hours. Lily's breath hitched. What if it says we're not related? Ethan didn't even flinch. Then we'll figure out how to keep you safe anyway. She looked up, startled. He continued, voice firm but warm. DNA or not, you're not alone again. Lily pressed her lips together as tears filled her eyes again. Grace put an arm around her shoulders. You're family now, one way or another. Lily let out a small, broken sound, halfway between a sob and a gasp. Outside the window, the storm finally began to lighten. The city looked less threatening, more like a place where new beginnings might still be possible. And if your heart still believes that love has a chance, even after fear and loss, write Amen in the comments. Someone scrolling tonight might need that hope more than you now. Clay slowed as they approached the station. But just as he pulled into the lot, his radio crackled again. This time, the voice wasn't frantic. It was terrified. "Clay, you need to turn around. Now, we just searched the suspect's belongings. We found," the message was cut with static, then returned crystal clear, "a photo of Lily, taken yesterday. And a list of addresses. He wasn't working alone." Lily's breath stopped. Grace grabbed her hand. Ethan turned sharply. "What does that mean?" Clay's face drained of color. "It means," he whispered, "someone else is still out there." He threw the car into reverse. The night swallowed them again. Asterisk. Clay's tires screeched against the wet pavement as he backed out of the station lot and spun the car toward the main road again. Rain smeared across the windshield, blurring the streetlights into streaks of orange and gold. The atmosphere inside the car shifted, fear coiling tighter, breath growing thin. Lily clutched her backpack to her chest, her knuckles white. "Why are we turning around?" she whispered. Clay's voice was low, controlled. "Because someone else might be watching you. If the man we arrested had a partner, going into the station could put you directly in their path." Ethan turned in his seat. "Are we being followed?" Clay scanned the rearview mirror. "Not yet, but we will be if they had eyes near the station." Grace leaned closer to Lily. "Deep breaths, sweetheart. We're okay." That Lily didn't look okay. Her pulse fluttered visibly at her throat. How many people want me?" Clay hesitated. "We don't know." "That's not comforting," Ethan growled. "We're working with what we have," Clay shot back, gripping the steering wheel tighter. The suspect had a list of addresses, all places Lily stayed over the last year. That means he was tracking her movements. Lily's breath hitched sharply. "How did he know where I was?" "He had help," Clay said grimly. "Someone feeding him locations." Ethan swore under his breath. "We need somewhere safe, not the station," Clay said. "And not the hotel you're staying in either. Too easy to access. We need a secure location without public records." Grace turned slowly toward Ethan. "You own several properties, but the only one without documented public access is my lake house," Ethan finished, already pulling out his phone. "I'll alert security." Clay nodded. "Good. Remote, gated, cameras. That buys us time to figure out who the second suspect is." Lily curled into herself. "This is all my fault." Ethan whipped around. "Absolutely not. None of this is your Lily held her backpack tight. "I'm scared." Ethan answered softly, "I know. But you're not facing this alone anymore." Grace rubbed her shoulder gently. "You have people now. Real ones." For the first time that night, Lily's tears weren't only from fear. The car finally pulled onto a long, narrow driveway lined with trees. Security lights flickered on automatically, illuminating the path ahead. Ethan's lake house appeared through the branches, a modern structure of glass and wormwood, standing strong against the storm. Clay parked near the entrance. "This is good. Give me a few minutes to check the perimeter." As he stepped out, Ethan escorted Lily and Grace toward the house. Lily paused at the doorway, staring up at the high windows glowing softly from security lights inside. "I've never stayed anywhere like this," she whispered. Grace smiled gently. "You deserve somewhere safe." Ethan unlocked the door and ushered them inside. The foyer smelled of cedar and rain, warm lights reflecting off polished floors. Lily stepped in slowly, afraid to touch anything. Ethan noticed and bent slightly to meet her eye level. "Lily," he said softly, "you're not a guest here. You're home." Her breath quivered. Grace guided Lily toward the sofa, wrapping a blanket around her shoulders. "Sit, breathe. We're going to take this one step at a time." But Lily didn't sit. She looked toward the window where her reflection trembled against the dark glass. "What if they don't give up?" she whispered. Ethan stepped closer, slow and sure. "Then we fight back. They're dangerous." "So am I," Ethan said quietly. Lily turned to him, eyes glossy. Why are you doing this? Because you matter, he answered. Because your mom trusted me with the one thing she loved most. And because I won't lose you the way I lost her. Her lips parted, but no words came. Instead, her eyes filled again with fear, with hope, with something she wasn't ready to name. And before the moment could break, I want to tell you something important. If this story touched you, don't scroll past quietly. Tap like, not for me, but for Lily, for every child who carried fear alone, for every heart that stayed gentle even after being hurt. Your click is your way of saying, I see you, I feel you. Just as Clay stepped back inside, shaking rain from his coat, his phone buzzed violently with a new alert, one that made the color drain from his face. He looked up at Ethan slowly. We have a problem. Lily froze. Ethan's jaw clenched. What now? Clay swallowed hard. They found a second list. The room went silent. A list, Clay continued, with dates, names, and a note under the last entry. He handed Ethan his phone. Ethan's eyes widened as he read the words. Finish what she started. Lily's knees buckled. Grace caught her. Ethan whispered one word. Low. Dangerous, final. Ava. Asterisk, the room seemed to shrink around them, the edges tightening like a fist. Ethan stared at the words glowing on Clay's phone. Finish what she started. The phrase didn't make sense. It felt like a puzzle missing half its pieces. Lily's breath trembled. Why would someone write that? What did my mom start? Clay paced once, then stopped, grounding himself. We need to assume Ava was involved in something bigger than we realized. Maybe something she tried to stop or expose. Grace studied Lily, keeping her wrapped in the blanket. Honey, did your mom ever mention anything strange? Anything she was afraid of? Lily shook her head. Just money problems. Jobs ending suddenly. People she didn't trust. But she never explained. Ethan knelt in front of her. Think carefully. Anything she hid? Anything she protected? Lily swallowed. Her voice shrank. Just her locker, the one at the hospital. Clay nodded. Then that locker is the priority tomorrow. Ethan turned to him sharply. Tomorrow? No, we go now. Ethan, now, Ethan said again, his voice cold and absolute. Lily won't sleep until we know what's inside. Neither will I. Clay hesitated, then sighed. Fine, but we go quietly. No squad cars, no lights, and Lily stays between us at all times. Lily clutched her backpack tighter. I'm scared. Ethan placed his hands gently on her shoulders. I know, but tonight, we take back the things that were stolen from you. Your answers, your safety, your mother's truth. Lily nodded, wiping her face with the sleeve of her hoodie. Grace grabbed jackets, boots, umbrellas. Clay checked his weapon and radio. Ethan made one quick call to private security to monitor the lake house perimeter while they were gone. Minutes later, they were back in Clay's unmarked car, heading through empty roads drenched in moonlit rain. Asterisk. The hospital at night didn't feel like a place meant for healing. The tall glass windows reflected distorted shapes, the fluorescent lights inside buzzing against the silence. The entrance smelled faintly of antiseptic and old rain. Clay flashed his badge to the night guard. We need access to patient storage. The guard blinked sleepily. Middle hallway, last door on the right. I'll buzz you through. As the lock clicked, Lily's breathing grew shallow. She whispered, This is where she died. Ethan squeezed her hand. I'm here. Clay pushed open the door. Inside, metal lockers lined the walls, hundreds of them, stacked like forgotten grief. Lily reached into her backpack with trembling fingers and pulled out the small silver key. Time had worn its smooth. Locker 117. Ethan found it first. You ready? He asked. Lily nodded. Though her hands shook violently, she inserted the key, turned it. The lock clicked open with a soft metallic sigh. Inside was a